Welcome back, everyone. Check this out. We got a 2005 Polaris Ranger 4x4. So this one came from another shop. It's a buddy of mine. He was doing some work on it. I helped him diagnose some things that were going on with this. So basically what happened now, what we had figured out is that the fuel pump was making 25 PSI. It is now making 38, so that is good, and it's holding pressure. The IEC motor is working properly. The mass airflow sensor here was completely just covered, caked in, so it was a throttle body and everything. And it would start, it would run, and it ran great after we did all that to it. And he changed the spark plug also. But then the customer got it home and it started acting up again where he'd give it gas and would spit and sputter as soon as you touched it. So he took the valve cover off. I went back over to his shop, took a look, and I should have thought about it. Exhaust cam lobe was completely wore off, completely. So now he put a new cam in it, new rocker arms, retimed it, fired up, drove it around, ran great. Customer come pick it up, they were backing it out, and something popped, and now it just turns over. The scary part is it just turns over. So my hope is that the cam chain came off with a crank on the bottom, and that he got lucky and the valves were closed, because I haven't heard anything hit when they turned it over. All right, so let's go ahead and pull this spark plug out. I got a few tools here. Let's take a look at this spark plug. See if we have any impact damage on that at all. Now, if we do have to go in and take the cam out, we have to drain the coolant, pull this housing off where the runs back into the head, pull this side off, pull that side off, pull this out, reset the timing, and take a look at what's going on. So again, I'm hoping we don't have to go through all that, but we'll see what happened here. Of course, I need a magnet and I leave it. Thought I probably wouldn't need it, but apparently I'm going to. Let me grab a magnet real quick. All right. Here is the spark plug. We got no impact indication on that. Nice. It hasn't ran very long, so it's still a little bit white. I can see the piston down in there. I don't want to turn it over. I want to pull the valve cover off first. That way we can see if it's cam chain broke or something like that. You just never know. So let's go ahead and pop all these off real quick, which I figured those are probably going to be crazy tight. All right, we'll just break them all loose here a little. And then we'll use our gun to get them out the rest of the way. Might be easier just to get down here with this guy. There we go. Take these front ones out real quick. Man, I'm telling you what, this rotary ratchet, for things like that, just makes it so much easier. I mean, I like my snap-on ratchets, but this Stanley rotary ratchet, man, God. Like I said, just for little stuff like this. Nothing, even tight spots on getting out the spark plugs on a lot of your motorcycles and stuff, man. It's just really nice to have, especially like a 3/8 drive one. All right, so what it looks like, from what I can tell right now, looks like the cam chain broke. Looks like the cam chain broke. And either that or it came off the crank. I can't really tell. It's possible it came off the crank. I'm going to take out the timing chain tensioner real quick, since we're right here. Just easier to do this while I'm here. I may end up taking out this plate also, just to have a little bit better access to a few things. Probably make it a lot easier when I do go ahead and put this back together. Timing chain tensioner. Just kind of gonna go here and there, here and there, here and there. Actually, I can probably just spin it with my hand now. It might be. Sorry guys, I got no warning the battery went dead. At least I didn't go any further without noticing. So I was gonna pull you off the stand to show you what's going on down here. Now, the timing chain tensioner does work. It goes in and out, no problem. I don't know if you can see it or not. I don't know. Let's push on here, see if I can't. It's not letting me zoom in or anything, but I'll try to figure out how to get you guys an angle. I'm on a lovely GoPro, but if you could see in there, you could see the cam chain is kind of all wrapped up. Now, I'm thinking, for what I can tell, it may have just came off the cam in the bottom. And we'll get lucky enough that that didn't impact, because I'm looking here, from what I can tell, he got lucky in that the cam lobes are facing down and away. And yeah, there you go. Look, look, look. Oh no, the cam chain broke. Look at that. Cam chain snapped. Nothing he did wrong. Cam chain. Snap, snap, snap-a-roo. So, looks like the cam chain broke. So what we're gonna have to do to fix that, we're gonna have to pull the gas tank out, this cross member out, this cover off, take off the stator side cover over here, right underneath here. We're gonna have to pull the flywheel, make sure we're back to TDC here, and then put it back together with a new cam chain. So it is a cam chain, there we go. But while we're down there, we gotta make sure we locate the other, yeah, look, it broke right off of there. So we've gotta locate the rest of the cam chain while we're there down on the bottom of this thing. If we don't, we got problems. We're gonna run a magnet through there, so what we need, we're gonna find one of the plates and part of the little dowel pin that runs through that. That's what's missing. That's what's down in there somewhere, hopefully. And again, he got super lucky about that. So we're gonna go ahead and give him a call and see how he wants to proceed with this, because I'm doing him a favor by working on this. And yeah, so we're gonna have to pull this body panel off, gas tank out, this shroud, drain the oil. Luckily enough, we don't have to drain coolant or anything because the cam is good, so we don't have to drain no, we do have to drain coolant on this one, I believe, because of the way the side cover is, I think. Nope, no coolant. No coolant, just the side cover here. So, cool. So this is something we could definitely fix pretty quick. All right, so my next step is I'm gonna go ahead and take the bodywork off, this side panel, this front panel, the side panel over there. We'll disconnect the fuel tank right here and the fuel line, which is already disconnected over there. This is a vent tube that runs into the frame. We'll get that out of the way, which I'm not going to show you guys me taking this apart on camera. It's just, there's no point. I think that me showing me do that would just be silly. So we're going to take this off here, this bracket out of the way. this guy, fuel tank out, these pieces, and then we'll go ahead and get down underneath there to the side case cover after we drain the oil. All right, so we got everything off. We got this little side plate there off. I pulled this hose up over here. We have the stator side cover off, the flywheel off, the stator housing out. Now, somebody's been in here digging around before. There is a ton of scratches and marks and beat up things down here. Now, I'm not saying that the stator didn't come apart at one point in time, because this was all put on here with silicone, which I don't think it has a stator cover. But, and also to get the flywheel off, just go to Harbor Freight, get you a steering wheel puller. It'll match up just fine on that, and it comes with the bolts and the washers you need. There you go. So the Pittsburgh bolt type steering wheel puller set works great for this. Cheap. I don't do a bunch of the old flywheels like that, so a steering wheel puller is cheap at Harbor Freight, and you can get that. So as I'm draining this thing, I'm draining the oil out. This is all the oil I get. Okay, so what I'm thinking happened is that, from what I can tell, I'll put I don't want to pry on the surface, but from what I can tell, the cam feels like it seized in the head, because I can barely turn that, and cause it to break down. Now, right here, I almost forgot, I'm choking, is the rest of that cam chain link. So we're good there. We got all of that. I'm really happy about that we have all that. You can see it was sitting right here at this little oil hole. So, and there's an O-ring that goes here. So make sure when you put the stator cover back on, I shouldn't say cover, but the stator back in, because the stator comes out separate like this, that you make sure that O-ring's there nice and neat, all right? You'll want to take it off of there, insert it on there. Clean this whole surface, and use a nice gasket sealer on there. I have Suzuki Bond, which I really enjoy. I got a bunch of that stuff, and this will have a new gasket but I am thinking, since there is no oil in this thing, that this top end seized up, cam stopped, crank kept going, snapped the cam chain. That would be my guess. So we're gonna order up I'm gonna actually drain out the coupe tomorrow. I'm gonna stop for the night, but to continue on the video, tomorrow we're gonna drain out the coolant, take the rocker arms off this thing, pull the cam sprocket off, and take the cam out the other side and get a good look at those, at the journals, to see if we scored anything. All right, guys, so the next morning we're back on this 2005 Polaris Ranger 500. Again, you guys saw me take all the other stuff off. So now we drained the coolant, take the thermostat housing off, this casing on the side that holds the cam and the cam compression, the decompression lever in place. Now, if you look, I should be able to turn this cam freely. It is stuck. So what we're gonna have to do, we're gonna have to go on and take a long punch, and I'm gonna knock this thing. It's gotta come out, cam's gotta come out this direction, unfortunately. So in order for me to do that, I have to knock the cam loose so I can actually access to spin it, because I think it's gotta be lined up just right, like the lobe's gotta be pointed over this direction to get it to slide out. So let me throw you guys back up on a tripod here, try to get you a good angle, put you back inside the unit if I don't drop you first. So many tools in my way right now. And there, I think that'll work right there. So what I'm just gonna use a long old extension, because this cam is junk now and it's going to be replaced with a new one, but my biggest concern is the head. So let's go ahead and, there we go. Okay, a couple small taps, it came right out. So let's see if we got any scoring on the cam at all, which I need to take this guy off to get it out of the way to get the cam out. I mean, I probably could push it down, but it's easier just to completely take it off the intake and push it down out of the way. We'll pull, trying to get you guys a view of the cam out. All right. The cam is now out. Look at that. Oh, you can see where it jammed up inside the head from no oil pressure. Man, concerning. Let me take a look down here. I will run this over to my bench or my lift that's up. We'll set that off to the side. Excuse me. And then we'll take a look if I can find a flashlight somewhere, wherever I put them at the cam journal where it sets. I gotta take my glove off for this. I gotta feel if it's scored up or not. I can see a little bit. Positive part right now, I don't feel anything with my fingernail. So it could have been just the cam itself going south. Even though it's a new cam, I think it just didn't have it, like you saw, it didn't have oil in it. I can't feel that. So what I do, I have an old cam from a four-wheeler, a Polaris, two Polaris 500. Should have the same diameter, because I believe it takes the same motor. So let me fix the decompression spring real quick. Get that in its proper spot. All right, so what I'll do, this is from my other video from that just came out not long ago. Let's slide this in real quick and see if this spins freely. If this spins freely and smoothly, there is no oil on this, but I want to see if it spins freely and smoothly without hanging up anywhere. If I can get it all the way in, it would be great. So, and it doesn't, it locks tight in there. Let me try to add a smidge of oil on this, or grease. Here we go, we'll just grab a little bit of oil here. Put on the cam journals. I'm a little concerned. Now we may have to go in there with some super light emery cloth and just clean it up a smidge. Now this one had no issues with the cam journals. This one had just issues with the cam lobes themselves. But right now, I can tell you the way it's catching in there, something's not right. Something somewhere is not right. I'm trying to keep my shoulder out of your way, but I don't feel anything in here, and I really don't feel. All right, so I took a little bit of light Scotch-Brite and I went around the cam and it cleaned it right off. I know the cams have a hardening on them, but I don't see anything wrong with this cam at all anymore. That came right off. I think it's pretty much superficial there, what we'll say. So now what I'm gonna do, I have some of the paper towel stuffed in here so nothing kind of goes down even though the motor is open on the side. I'm gonna try to take this little bit of Scotch-Brite and just clean up the head surface in here and see the cam journal surface and see if this cam will spin freely. Again, the customer has bought another unit already. They wanted something with a little more room for them and their grandkids, but they're looking to have this one fixed. So what we're gonna do, and they're trying to, you know, save a little face, not spend a ton of money on it. So what we're gonna do, we're just gonna try to clean this up and get this thing to operate properly. So the hardest part is just kind of getting in here to see if I can clean up this surface. Like I said, I didn't feel anything with my fingernail or anything like that. So hopefully this cleans right up and we don't have any issues. That cam will go right back in there and spin freely. We'll make sure, I will probably end up putting a little bit of, just a little bit of grease on the cam journal to make sure it's free, it has a nice thick coating, and make sure that the, you know, that it's lubed up really well. The grease will dissipate from the heat. We're not going to use much, just a tiny bit. I could use the oil, but that greases sticker, I want to make sure that lasts till we get oil pressure up into the journals and stuff like that. That's feeling pretty good. And I will grab some acetone, clean that out, just to make sure that we have nothing behind. Let me grab some paper towels and some acetone real quick. I like using acetone on things like this. It really cleans things well. I use acetone on a lot of, when I would do, Kawasaki was big on it back in the day. They would have like a coating or a, what do they call that? It's basically a coating to keep it from starting to rust and stuff. I can't remember the name of it. Cosmoline maybe, on clutch plates, on the rod bearings, main bearings. So I would use acetone and clean off every single one, and then acetone throughout the whole motor when I would build race motors for the Moto America series. So let's go ahead and check this side. That feels really good. I didn't see anything in there. Okay, so let's try to replace the cam in there again. Let me grab a little bit of grease. Is it out or did I put it away? Man, I'm over here breathing hard. I went to the gym this morning, and it's actually a nice day out today instead of being really cold. And I'm over here huffing and puffing. I gotta work on my cardio some. Anyhow. Oh, also guys, hit up emmanualonline.com for all your service manual needs. Use discount code LimitlessPower22 at checkout to save yourself 22% at checkout. Also follow me on TikTok if you haven't, that'd be awesome. I don't post there all the time, but I post some random fun stuff, and usually it's little clips of me trying to figure some things out, or just some crazy random stuff that you'll probably see in the video down the road, but just small clips. All right, let's get this decompression lever, spring and stuff back to where it belongs again. Let's try to, we'll reinsert this guy. Let me get this head gasket, valve cover gasket off. All right, let's see. Get this guy go back in. It'd be helpful if I put it in the right direction here. There we go. In here. That should go just like so. And man, it feels really tight. Let me stick the sprocket on there. Maybe 1 or 2 bolts real quick, just to see if this sprocket's gonna make a, actually I don't even have to do that. It has a pin, locator pin. Still feels a little, whoop, pushed it back out the wrong way. Come on. Ugh. Come on, baby. Okay, that's back in. If I had that cap on the other side, I wouldn't have to worry about that. All right, cam sprocket's on. All right, so I've gone back in there. I've used 1500 grit sandpaper with oil on it, and I have cleaned that journal up. Now, if you look how easily it spins now. No hiccups, no problems at all. Nice and smooth. Cam is smooth, journal is smooth. There is a little, like I said, I put a little bit of grease on here to help lubricate that on first startup. I will go ahead and drop oil and everything down there once I get the new cam chain. So at least we don't have a bad head or a bad cam. So I'm gonna order up a new cam chain for this thing, and we'll get this thing installed. All right guys, so I just got back from my buddy's shop. I wanted to check on oil and things like that, look at their work order, see what was going on. He did add 2 quarts of Polaris 5W50, I think, to this unit. Now when we drained it, we saw nothing come out. So what we're gonna do is have a drink of coffee and check the oil reservoir. Let's go over here and check this oil reservoir, because I just run a bunch of scenarios by, and we just double checked because I had a new oil filter. You guys can see there's a brand new oil filter over here. And the one that actually came off this unit was the wrong part number, because it wouldn't, and he put the same part number back on it because he's just copying part numbers and it didn't fit. He looked and it was the wrong part number. This thing did have an oil leak when he got it to the shop. But he fixed that. Basically, some standard cover bolts he said were loose, so he found that, fixed that. So let's take a look over here. Here's our oil tank right here. You can see one line from the top, which I think that is a breather line, I believe. And it's, well, it's not connected to anything. I thought that was supposed to go back to maybe the air box. I'll double check on that. And you can see somebody had stuck some fuel emission, Goodyear. I don't know if that's the OEM stuff on there or not. I doubt it because it looks like 3/8 fuel injection line. But let's check out down here in the oil reservoir and see what kind of oil we got going on. Because maybe the oil pump in this thing failed. Because what I found, we talked about it, we looked, and we found both of the cans. And there is not a drop of oil on this. Not a single drop. That's pretty worrisome. Did this thing puke it all out all over the place? What the heck is going on? There is no reason for this thing to have lost all that oil. And they both run in down there. That is really, really odd. It's a sump system, so I don't know. Man, I'm gonna take a peek down in here. I'm gonna have to put you guys back on the stand over here for a second while I peek actually down into the I mean, I see oil in there. I definitely see oil. Add 8 ounces to here, that's normal. In here, that line, and that's full. Tighten to check to level. Again, put it in. Polaris 4-cycle oil recommended. We understand that. And again, nothing. Nothing on the dipstick, but I do see oil down in the tank. So let me look up what the proper amount of oil that goes in here. He has 2 empty quarts. I'm just kind of looking around to see if possibly it could have got put in a wrong hole, but he said, yeah, the oil tank's right underneath the seat. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. So that's pretty interesting there. There really isn't any other, I mean, anywhere else to fill this thing. I'm just checking around for just any debris. So that's pretty interesting. So let me look up the exact amount of oil that this unit takes. All right, guys, so we got the cam chain in today. And as you can see, I have it installed. These are about 12 Newton meters, little blue Loctite on those. And if you look, you'll see the 2, let me try to zoom in with my, not zoom in, but my light. 2 dots with the 2 silver cam chain links. The 2 links are silver here on top. And down here on the bottom will line up right there with the single one, right there on that timing mark there. So again, and then put the timing chain tensioner in back here, which is, again, those are only like a whopping 12 Newton meters on the bolts for the timing chain tensioner. And I believe it's 65 foot-pounds on the flywheel nut. When you put the stator back in, go ahead and torque those with, I put a little blue Loctite on those also. And I would torque that down to probably 12 Newton meters also. So we're gonna go ahead, I'm gonna go ahead and reinstall all that. I'm gonna leave the valve cover off. And then what we'll do, we'll pinch the breather hose right here. We'll pinch this off so it creates a suction, like a almost like a vacuum inside the reservoir up front, the oil reservoir, to make sure this thing is pumping oil. I will spray oil all over this stuff first before I do start that. The cam does have a little bit of grease on the journals and the cam itself. You guys saw me put that on there. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna leave the top of this off, but I'm gonna go ahead and put in the rocker arms, the stator, the flywheel, the side cover. I gotta clean all this up yet, and I gotta use a little gasket sealer again on the flywheel cover. I do have to clean that up, and then I will reinstall that. All right, so we got oil over everything, side cover installed. I have the vent bypassed. I don't have the fuel pump hooked up over here. So I'm going to go ahead and take off the oil cap to the reservoir and just kind of look down in there. It looks pretty darn low, but let's go ahead and just crank it over and see if we can't get oil pressure building up. So it's in neutral. I might have to step on the brake apparently. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead, I think I'm gonna add another quart real quick to this because it looks really low. It's not even coming up on my dipstick. So I'm gonna add another quart of 550 to this real quick, and then we'll go ahead and plug it off so it creates a vacuum. It's not creating the vacuum I need with the cap off. So let me go ahead and add another quart, and we'll get back. So we got another quart in there. I got the cap back on to create that vacuum. Remember, pitching this off so it pulls the oil through the motor. So let's go ahead and crank it again. See if we get some oil pressure going here. I honestly really don't know. There we go. Now, yep, now we got oil pressure to the top. You can see it starting to run off right there. So let me get a rag and make sure we can clean all that up before it runs all over the exhaust pipe. So now we're creating that suction to get oil pressure up to the top of the motor, which I don't think it was happening before because, like I said, he did change the oil, but he didn't try to prime the system like this. So I'm gonna soak up this oil. We'll put the valve cover back on top of this thing, throw a spark plug in it, hook up the fuel pump, fire this thing off, and then we could definitely check to make sure the oil is cycling out of the tank. All right, so we got everything back together, everything hooked up. Let's go ahead and let's see, turn the key on. Let's turn it off. Let the everything reset itself here. I've had it on for a little bit. Key on. Fuel pump cycling. We'll shut it off. Let it do its thing again. Fuel pump cycle one more time. Didn't need to. Sounds good. And I'm going to run it with this on there for a minute, for 20-30 seconds. There we go. Now we'll check down in here to make sure everything's cycling like it should. I can hear it. Yep, all that's working. Let's go ahead and unhook the vent, drop my push. Come on, baby, come back apart. There we go. And take a look down in here again. And she's cycling just like it should, so that's great. Now I gotta reach down in here and grab my, well, where'd the dipstick go, wherever it fell to. So I'm gonna let this run for a couple minutes. I gotta let the coolant cycle through. It's gonna be dark, so we'll take it for a ride tomorrow. All right, so it's a couple days later, and we have a major issue with the Ranger. So I fired it up, what was it, Saturday, because today's Monday now. Let it warm up. Drove it down the road. Well, I shouldn't say down the road, but down to my neighbor's real quick because he's building a chicken coop. So I was just kind of checking out what he's got going on. Turned it off, talked to him for a minute, started it back up, came back, made it about 20 feet, and the motor just stopped, locked up. Boop. So the question is it the same thing that my buddy's shop had a problem with where it wasn't making oil pressure? Now, you saw that we actually primed the oil system and it was working and everything, so the oil system should have been primed. So now the question is, did the cam lock back up in the head? Is it not getting oil to the top? What is going on? Could it be something in the bottom end? The piston lock up? The motor sounded good. There was no knocking or anything like that. So the question is, what happened? So let's jump back into this thing, pull the valve cover off, and the spark plug out, and let's see what happens. All right, so we got the spark plug out, valve cover off. There is plenty of oil up here in the top end, it looks like. Now the question is it oiling over here on where the journals are? But let's take a look down in there with my bore scope real quick to make sure that the cylinder isn't looking crappy. Now we're coming up on the exhaust stroke, so I just want to look around at the piston bore, make sure it doesn't look horrible, and everything looks on the up and up as far as that goes, front and back. I don't see any scarring at all, so that's good. All right, and I know timing is good, so let me turn this off. I'll leave a link in the description for my bore scope. This one did come from Amazon. I think it's like $135 on sale or something like that. So that really concerns me. Now, the biggest pain in the butt is over here on this side. You got to remove the coolant hose for it to so you can get the cam out. So, well, I mean, I know it's locked tight in there. So I'm going to go ahead and slowly release the pressure on the rocker arms here and make sure that we don't damage anything. So I'll grab a tin and I'll release these really slow, kind of here, just a little turn at a time. That way we don't cause any issues, and see if we can't maybe figure out where it locked up at, because it was smooth, it was nice, there was nothing going on. Could there be an issue with the cam itself? Could it be an issue with the bottom end all of a sudden? I'm not sure, but we're gonna have to take this back apart, take a look at it and find. All right guys, so we got the coolant drained, the valve cover off, the side cover off, the stator cover off. Now, when I pulled the stator cover off, there wasn't very much oil in there. Now we know the oil pump was pumping because we saw it build pressure up top. There should be some down in here, maybe not a lot, but some. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna go ahead and put you on the stand, and we're gonna try to turn this thing back to TDC. That is a brand new cam chain. So let's throw this on here and see if I can get this thing to turn. We're gonna turn it clockwise because I don't want the bolt to come undone. Okay, smooth. That's smooth. No hiccup at all. That is actually really, really smooth. Now I'm a little confused of what's going on. Because that felt really smooth. With no hiccups. I'm gonna rotate this a little more. Let's get this Bendix started gear out of here first. Get that out of here. That thing can be a pain to get in and out sometimes. This is like an adapter and extension. We'll put that up there. So let's keep turning this thing over. Just to see if we can feel anything kind of catch. If we don't, I'm gonna throw the cam tower back on there and rotate it with that and see maybe if a valve is sticking, since it didn't have any oil up top, and that other cam that got replaced was completely worn off. The cam lobe was completely gone. Well, that looks pretty good there. Everything feels good. So there's no issues there. I'm just gonna keep rotating it just to see if I feel any type of hiccup. It's really odd why that happened, because I hit the key again and it did not want to turn over. Almost like a valve was hung. Well, that feels good. I'm gonna keep rotating. I'm gonna try to get the proper length lined up with everything again like it should be. This is really, really odd. How come I'm getting all these oddballs, man? This is driving me crazy. That would be TDC right there. Top dead center. There's a timing mark right there. Huh. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Why? That's very interesting. Okay, well, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna clean up this side cover here, reseal it again, and well, that's the hard part because the problem with that is I wanna make sure this thing is, let me go ahead, let me pull this off here. Let's make sure we're exactly at TDC like it shows here real quick. Do I have a 9/16 somewhere? Is that a 9/16? Okay, so that's probably going to be a 9/16 with that. Let me grab that real quick. We'll pull that off, and we'll just set the cover on there, line it up. That way we can make sure that we are at true TDC. Okay. I mean, according to everything last time when I set the cam timing, it was spot on, but who knows? All right, get that off of there. Go ahead and set this back on, like so. Grab my flashlight. Let's take a gander here. Yeah. Okay, so where are we at? Huh. Interesting. Everything looks good, so let's go ahead and I want to seal this back up, put the cam tower back in and see, well, am I off? I can't, let me get a better view here. So it would be right there. So that would be TDC there. So it looks like I personally might be off just by a little bit. So I'm gonna go ahead, we'll try to fix the timing mark. It shows it should be right here, and it looks like I'm a little advanced. So I'm gonna go ahead and reset this timing mark and double check my cam marks and see if I got this thing fixed. So I'm just double checking it. I am spot on cam timing. There's the mark. You guys probably can't see the mark down there. I doubt it. And then if you look at the two dots, they are parallel from what I can tell way back here. Huh. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and reseal that like I said. I'm right on cam timing. We'll put the rocker arms back on, and actually I'm not gonna reseal that. I'm gonna put the rocker arms back on first and turn this over by hand and see if maybe we have a valve that is sticking, because this thing was low, had old oil, the other cam was low, was completely wore off, which you guys didn't see because that happened out of their shop. So let me do that. Let me get the cam towers back on here, rocker arms, and see if I can see if it's sticking because of a sticky valve. All right, so we got the rocker arms back in, torqued down to 12 Newton meters, kind of an odd number. I'd have to double check that. I think it would need to be a little tighter than that. Timing is good, we checked that. I checked my timing chain tensioner, it is good. So let's turn this thing over by hand with the rocker arms in there. So let's just see if a valve's hanging up. It's a possibility. Like I said, this thing was low on oil. Definitely a completely different beast when turning it over with the rocker arms in. That is for sure. All right, well, let's try going counterclockwise. Because right now we are lined up TDC. Let me check the cam timing down here. We're good on that one there, because that lines up right here with that arrow. Yep, right there and right there. So we're perfect on everything. What the heck happened? It just shut off on me. Like, just dunk, and that was it. Like, it hit something hard and just shut off. But everything feels absolutely smooth. This is just such a crappy angle to be in here trying to do this with all this. I mean, manufacturers, use your brains, man. Give us guys some room to work. Okay, it feels okay there. Let's go, like I said, let's go the counterclockwise direction. So that's intake, exhaust. That would be like TDC again. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm a little past, but everything feels on the up and up. Should be exhaust stroke. And then the overlap with the intake. That would be TDC. Do I just put it back together again and make sure we're getting oil somewhere? I am so at a loss of what's going on with this thing. Exhaust stroke. Okay, exhaust stroke looks good. Man, cutting me up over here. There's the overlap-ish. That would be the intake. I want to visually watch what this piston's doing. Okay? Because I just feel like and that's top dead center. Huh. Well, guys, I have an idea at the moment. So I'm gonna go ahead and put the side cover back on, put the valve cover back on. I will pinch off the hose and we'll turn this over without the spark plug again. I mean, there's a lot of oil up there. I'm wondering if it's just not picking up. I don't know. Everything feels good. Everything feels smooth. Everything has play. Is it getting hot and expanding, causing it to lock up? I'm not sure. But everything is smooth. Everything is smooth. Cam is smooth. I can move the cam no problem. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and put this back together and we'll see what's going on. All right, guys, so we got everything back together, cranking it over. I checked the oil level. It was going down. So I guess I'm gonna start it and let it idle and see if it locks up again. I don't know what else to do because turns over smooth. Cam smooth, timing was good, but it just stopped. So it could be crank. The cylinder looked good with the bore scope. So I'm gonna watch down in here and just kind of see what happens. I hope it don't break another cam chain. Oil is circulating. Oil circulating. I don't know. Doesn't sound bad. I hear the seat bouncing. Again, oil looks to be circulating like it's supposed to. I hate to cut the camera and have it lock up. That's how things go for me, so we'll let it run. I actually might, you know what? I think I'm gonna go ahead and double check the screen over here on this hose. I'm gonna drain the oil into my clean pan and double check that screen to make sure it's pulling enough oil. It may not be pulling enough oil, so I'm gonna go ahead and drain the oil, double check. So guys, I got the oil drained out. It's gonna be hard to see out here in the light, but it looks really, really metallic-y. Let's see if we can get anything out of here. Now look at all that sludge. Look at all that sludge. Let me grab a paper towel and see what we have as far as what this sludge is. All right, so we know it's metallic because it's sticking to the magnet. Is it just gears? Is it, you know what, that's right. You know what we weren't thinking about? That other cam got completely shredded. I mean, and that is all metallic. Let's go ahead and pour this oil into this other pan and just kind of see what we have. Look at that. It's got gold. This is what's in the bottom of that pan. And it ain't looking good. That is a lot of gold. A lot of gold. I'm gonna call that a rod going south from that cam going bad. So I'm gonna take this over to my buddy's shop, show him exactly what I found just now so he can get an idea, and figure out where we're gonna go from here. All right, so here's where we're at on the Ranger right now. I went over to my buddy's shop, talked to him, and we both agree it's a crank. It's the rod bearings going south. The oil is gold, as gold can get. There's no way around that. When it heats up, we're thinking it seizes it, and when it cools back down, you're able to turn it over. Not an uncommon thing I've seen in the past. I've run into that with some other units too. But here's the other reason why the crank probably failed, most likely, besides lack of maintenance for one, and lubrication. But right here, this is the original cam. Okay, you can see there is no cam lobe left on the exhaust cam. All this metal debris that is supposed to be here is now down in the motor somewhere and ran through all that oil. That's why it kind of looks kind of silvery to me. And then you can also see right here on the exhaust rocker how much that's wore out. Let me grab another cam real quick and show you the comparison. This other one's semi-wore. We have talked about this in the past. But let me just show you the difference and show you all that debris that's down in there. Now this cam's not anywhere near as bad as what this one is, but look at the difference. You see that exhaust lobe right there? You see that exhaust lobe? That's, well, not there, so that's our problem. All that debris went down inside the motor, and now it has ruined the crank on that. So, gonna have to call the customer and let them know what I found out. So my guess is gonna be that we're not gonna fix it because he bought another unit. So I'm gonna end this video here. Again, guys, if you haven't subscribed, hit that subscribe button, leave a thumbs up, a thumbs down, drop a comment. Find me on Facebook at Limitless Power Sports Service and Repair, TikTok at Limitless Power Sports Sir and Rep, or you can shoot me an email at limitlesspowersports78@gmail.com. Again, guys, thanks for everyone who commented and subscribed. I'll catch you on my next upload.